Hello, welcome back to the studio. My name is Kaylee and I paint wet on wet landscape oil paintings. Today I thought we would do a really cool scene. I was just scrolling through Instagram and I saw this photo. I think it's somewhere around Laguna Beach. I really liked the color, so I thought I would just give it a try. It's kind of a scene, like a sunset scene, and the water had just crashed on top of the rocks and it's receding back. So it's going to be kind of a unique perspective on the water. And I thought it would just be really fun to do simple, beautiful colors and work on the movement of water. As far as colors, I have my palette up here. I will link it, put it in the description below for you. And there are going to be just a couple extra brushes that I've been using that I want to mention are just these little sable brushes. They're small and soft and work really well for some of the finer details of water sometimes. But most of the time I just use my big brushes and it works out fine. I have already prepped my canvas. This is an 18 by 24 inch canvas and I've prepped it with liquid white. I wiped off some of the excess and we're ready to go. I'm going to start off with my 1-inch brush and we're going to make this like the golden color right in this area. So we'll start out with some yellow ochre and titanium white. Just a touch of that. And we're going to pick out the brighter areas. And just toss some of this in here. We'll just fill that all in. Grab some Indian yellow now, right around the outside of that. And now Indian yellow and yellow ochre, a little bit more Indian yellow. And a touch, just a touch of bright red. Nice. A little bit of that there. And I'm going to take some of this and also put it right down here where we're going to have a little bit of highlight. Just so we can match up some of the colors. Just the dirty brush will do. Next, I think we'll go into some Alizarin Crimson and grab a little bit of titanium white with that. And I'm going to use some of that right over here. Just by putting a little bit of a border around this yellow so that we don't get too many. We don't really want green in the sky today. Sometimes green is pretty in the sky, but I don't really want it today. Oh, right about there. Maybe we'll do just a touch more. I'm going to add just a little bit of our yellow and then some bright red. Just a touch right over here. I just wanted a slightly different flavor. Just bring some of that up. We'll bring some of it down over here. Maybe just a touch to bring it together down here. Now moving up, just going to set this down for a second, grab some water. Let's keep moving up in the sky. I want to make a gray mixture, so we're going to grab some Alizarin Crimson to drown out those yellows and go right into the Phthalo Green. Mix that on the brush. More crimson. Let's get rid of some of that. It's a little dark. We want it, but not quite that dark right now. So we'll put some down here. It's a very nice gray. And now that I've kind of gotten some of that paint out of the brush, I'm going to grab just a touch more and some titanium white. I'm going to use this right up above the crimson color, just barely allowing them to touch. Work some of this up for a little while. And then we're gonna have some clouds up here, so we'll just get that paint off. And the harder that you press with the brush, the darker that the paint will come off. So it'll kind of just make a darker area if you really push the brush into there. And if you want it softer, you just let up a little bit. No big deal. Let's just use some of that right up here. We'll go ahead and get started with the canvas being mostly covered. And you could use a bigger brush. Sometimes for these delicate little skies, I like to use the 1-inch brush. I think more it's a comfort thing because I don't want to mess up. So I just start smaller and build up. But you can do it however you want. If you want to use a big brush, or even if you want to use a smaller brush, you totally could. We just want to make sure that we're getting the paint really into the canvas. I like to paint on kind of a rougher canvas, so sometimes it's different for the way that it, like how much effort it takes for me to get it into the canvas as it might for you. And then I also recommend using canvases if you're really trying to get the best effect of the wet on wet. You need to have a really nice prepped canvas, so it has to have a lot of the liquid gesso on it, which you can just buy them as like a triple primed canvas or prime it yourself at home. But it really helps to have those extra coats to help the oils to not soak in quite so much, so that you really can move and blend all the paints on the canvas. To me, that's the most fun part, but everybody's different. Okay, so I'm going to use some of this gray mixture, and I'm also going to put it down below here. We're just working on getting some barriers in between these colors so that we can use more variety and blend on the canvas, but also not get too many of the colors to go together. So this is kind of a little bit of a barrier for us. You'll see why in just a minute. So we'll just blend that down. I'm very light on the brush right now. Just trying to get some of these grays to work in. And now that I've used up most of that gray mixture that I made, I'm going to go right into some of my dark blue mixture. This was 3 parts Prussian blue and 1 part midnight black, and I mix it together. I just like that really deep blue for water scenes. Sometimes I don't do that, and then I'll just mix more midnight black into it, which you could do, but just for the sake of making sure that every time I use Prussian blue, I'm getting this, or this blue mixture here, I'm getting a really rich blue with kind of a purple tint to it every now and then. So it's going to be like a little bit warm, just really pretty. I really like that combination. Okay, now I'm going to take some of that blue and add a little bit of phthalo blue. Phthalo blue is pretty bright, so it's just going to liven up our blue mixture. Now I'm going to add some titanium white to that. And we're going to start on the top. Just allowing this blue to come down and meet the gray. Now I'm just blending them a little bit. I want to get some more blue to come off into this gray. So I'm going to start pressing a little bit harder just to blend out this blue and gray. I'm going to add a little bit more phthalo blue, titanium white, really bright. Yeah, I like that. Pretty. All right, we'll leave it like that. I'm gonna add just some of this blue since I've already got it. I wanna keep these colors very familiar and harmonize them. So we're just gonna use what's left of this already mixed color and add it in to some of these water areas. Just softening it out a little bit, getting those colors to kind of incorporate, and then I'm going to pick up my blending brush. Just double checking that it's clean and dry. And we're going to start in this nice and bright yellow area and just soften it until you're happy with it. Just really want it to come together. Now I'm going to work on these little gray areas. I don't want to get too crazy blending it, but just soften it together. Now that we've done the top, let's flip the brush over and put that dark area back into the dark. And we'll just do the same thing down here. Making it nice and soft. And I'm going to go down just a little bit. Soften all of this across. Also kind of cleaning off the brush. I care less about messing up some of this water area, but I don't want to get too much green going on up in the sky. So now that I cleaned out the brush a little bit, we'll come soften up this gray. Just softening words. Sometimes they're hard. Blend that all the way across. I'm gonna do just a little bit more blending right in here. I really want to soften this just a little more. Here. all the way across, just nice and flat on the bottom. Okay, let's put in some clouds. I'm going to pick up the fan brush, and I think I'm going to start with some light clouds. We'll work kind of in the similar order. Titanium white. We'll pick up like kind of a peach color, just a touch of bright red and Indian yellow. It's a nice bright color. And we'll just pop in a few, you almost can't see them. Let's pick up a tiny bit more titanium white. There we go. Just some little dusters back here. They're just barely, they're so far away you can't quite see them, but I mean you can see them just barely. Nice little, just barely blowing in the wind. I'm just picking up a tiny bit more paint. Okay, and let's go into our kind of golden colors, get a touch of that, some more bright red, yellow ochre, Indian yellow, just a little bit more of a peach color, and we'll pop in a few more. Just wiggle them out. Keeping them like a little bit more flat because they're further away, right? Let's do some more bright red. How about some little, just some little ones out here. Ooh, those are cute. Titanium white to that, just a tiny bit. Maybe something down here, just sparkling. Move some of that over here. A little bit more. Okay, I'm going to blend these. Pick up a clean 2-inch brush and just soften, give them a little bit of a pull. Remember, they're really far away. We want them nice and soft. Just push them back. Give them a slight little lift and pull them across. And let's move forward a little bit. I want to add some Alizarin Crimson. And we'll go kind of into our blue mixture. Pick up some of that. We're looking for a lavender. Let's get that a little bit more blue in there. There we go. We'll throw one in over here. Just give them some little wiggles, and maybe we'll add some shadows into these. And we're gonna have kind of a little bit of, you know, just some kind of mistiness down at the horizon. Whenever you're at the beach on a bright, you know, beautiful sunset like this, I mean, almost every time, but I wouldn't say every time because that I just know isn't true. But so many times you look out and it's just got this mistiness down at the bottom, and it's really beautiful. You know, maybe a storm just rolled out and you're just looking out and seeing those little puffs way out there. It can be really pretty. So we can just play with colors and put them in. We'll blend this bottom out here to be nice and soft and misty. And it's gonna look really nice. A little bit all the way across, even into this lavender over here. Just allow those to play together. Now I'm gonna go back into some lavender, Alizarin Crimson, Phthalo Blue. Not too dark, but I think that'll do. Let's try that. Actually, let's pick up a tiny bit of our other blue mixture, just kind of a little bit more dark in there. And we're gonna put in these clouds back here. Just kind of. The photo looks like it was kind of a longer exposure based off of the way that the water is just so still looking. I mean, it just has this really soft look to it. So I'm just trying to make these clouds, you know, we want them to be there, we want to know they're there, but I don't want it to be super detailed on seeing every tiny little bit of the cloud, because they would have been kind of moving, and you know, we want to portray that into the painting as well if we're going to paint the water looking that way. So let's just get some of these little background noises in. I'm going to brighten it up a little, bright red, or sorry, alizarin crimson to that, some titanium white. Oop. Just playing with the colors on the brush, but I'm warming it up just a touch for this one in here. A little more titanium white. There we go. Yeah. We'll just pull this cloud right up in front. Nice. There we go. Now I want to take some of that peach, or that alizarin crimson, kind of, I don't know, purpley. I'm actually not very good at knowing all these in-between colors, but this color, you will have to forgive me. I just love painting. I don't always know which hues we're choosing. It looks kind of lavender to me, so I'm just gonna roll with that. We're just playing with some colors here and adding some more little wispy bits, and then we'll come through and blend all of these to however, you know, softness that we want. Just gonna put in a few more. I'm going actually right back into this kind of yellow color here, kind of turn it a little bit gray. I want that right there. Nice. Yeah, I'm gonna soften that now. Got my blending brush. Pick out some of the lighter areas and start with those. Looks like I need to wipe that out. I got like some yellow in it. Nice and soft. Just had to clean out my brush a little bit more. And I'm just going to just push these just way back. Really, really soften. Allow them to move, play. I'm gonna just blend the bottom of this. Just cleaning out my brush again. We'll just swirl these ones around up here on the top just kind of moving up and down, just little circles and twirls and changing direction, really getting it to move. Blend that or wipe that off. A little bit more here. Some up here. And then once you get this lower area where we're still working with these yellows, we just don't want to get too crazy. So we just work this area first before we pick up too much of the dark from up top. So we just want to soften this all together until it gets to exactly the way that you want it, which is going to be different for everyone, but I'm just blending and softening these colors together, just allowing to create that mist right at the horizon, all the way across, very lightly now, and I'm going to pick that up all the way across. Over here. All right, now let's work up into this top area. Just give these a tap. Same thing over here. And let's just mix these up a little bit. A little bit over here. Give it a tap out at the bottom, and then we'll just lighten and soften some of this area. Nice. I want to work in a little bit of dark into this lower area so I can give it some time to dry or kind of soak in a little bit. Just right into our dark blue, pick up some phthalo blue and phthalo green, right into the brush. We'll use that starting from the bottom, working up. Same thing over here. And work that in. And we're going to bring this water up, not all the way up to where we want it yet, but we'll start moving it up a little bit. Now let's pick up some Midnight Black and Van Dyke Brown right down on the bottom. Just get that incorporated. Nice and dark down here, a little bit on the other side. And we'll just let that sit for a little while. All right, let's leave that. I'm going to pick up the fan brush again, just wipe it out from some of the mess we had. And we're going to use some liquid white now to thin down our titanium white. And we'll put just a few highlights kind of popping on the clouds. I just need them a little thinned down so that they'll stick. And I'm going to pick up a little bit of bright red, Indian yellow, a little more bright red. There we go. And we're going to pop this in right on these clouds that are kind of pushing themselves out towards us. They're coming up this way. Highlight the bottoms here. A little bit more bright red. And just all up there. And then we're going to pick up a little bit more, some of this peach color. Make sure it's thinned down just enough to stick. Pick out just a couple more little pops here and there. Just little accents. Maybe over here. And then maybe we'll have just a touch of, you know, something a little brighter right in here. Just a touch there. Blend that with your blending brush. Soften and just work that color back, leaving some defined points more towards the bottom, since our light source is over here, so that's going to be the sparkly area. Work that around. I'm going to wipe off my brush and just come right down in here and soften this a little bit. And we'll work through this area, just tap, maybe here, just tap. Maybe get this guy right over here. Soften that. Let's just give that some movement. Oh, I did not know it was going to storm today, but it is storming now. Maybe you'll hear the thunder. Funny. I did not expect that. It was just sunny like a few minutes ago. All right, I think I'm going to leave the sky like that for now. You can always come back and do more later. So let's take a brush. Let's just pick out a spot. For where the horizon is going to be. And you need to mark it. Maybe just pick up a palette knife. And pick up some of the blue mixture and just measure out. I'm going to pick this spot right here, right up the top. Nice. Eyeballed that. Okay, Now I'm going to use my sable brush. I kind of want to use a bigger brush, but I'm just going to start with the small one first. Go right into the Prussian blue, and I need to clean this apparently. Pause, I have to clean this brush. That again. Cleaned out my brush. Let's go right into the dark Prussian blue mixture and get that loaded up on the sable brush. And I'm just gonna throw a line across and see how it goes. You can tell how exact I get. I like to kind of aim under and throw it in. I'm going to move it up just a touch. Cool. Let's pick up some more paint. And we'll just get this nice and dark back here. If you want to use a different brush because that makes you feel more comfortable, you should do that. Now I'm going to just double check this because I got a little crazy. Yep, a little bit more over here. That's why we do that. And we just want to make sure it's not falling down in the middle too, which can happen. I'm just going to make this top area nice and dark for us. And we can come back and soften it if we want to. Wow, it sounds like it's actually getting proper stormy outside. Cool. Straight across, just getting the paint off the brush, moving it in. I'm gonna pick up, let's see, a little bit of Midnight Black. Just throw it in on this side over here. I think a little Van Dyke Brown too is what I'm seeing. Just a little more dull, kinda, you know, not quite so blue. Rainy day. Comment below if you can hear the rain. Sorry if it sucks. Hopefully you don't mind it, or maybe you don't hear it, but it's blowing. I think I'd rather hear rain than cars, but I just have learned to tune them out. So hopefully you guys can too. Thank you for not getting too upset about it. I think the mic helps. Hopefully I can get find a good one that I like, but this one's been working okay. Just kind of filling in on this edge sometimes I get a lot of paint on the edge, and then when you try and move them in 2 days, it just gets all over you. So I've learned to clean up some of it, but I don't always remember. Okay, got some blue up there. Let's stop messing with that. I want to add just kind of some of these bright colors. This is going to be some of the areas where the water is just kind of swirling around. So I want to make this nice and bright. I went into some Phthalo Green, and we'll pick up just a touch of our light brown mixture, just a tiny bit, a little bit more. Something like that. Just work it into the brush. These are going to be the areas where the water is just moving back. It's really beautiful, kind of turquoise color when the water gets all those bubbles in it, and it just leaves this really pretty color out here. So we'll add some of that in. Make sure we keep that area nice and light. Picking up some more paint, titanium white, phthalo green, and our brown mixture. Just sort of ran out. And we're gonna throw some more in back here. And some across here. Just kind of start giving it a little bit of movement, not too much. Go right back into that bright mixture. I want to make it even whiter, so we'll go into more titanium white. You still have some phthalo green on there, but pick up some more of the light brown mixture. Van Dyke brown and bright red. Maybe a little too much of that. A little bit less. There we go. I like that. And this, let's find our spot. We need to wipe off. Just pick up my rag. Just wipe some of this off here. Just want to get some of that blue out. Not too much. Nice gray mixture, and throw that in right here. Should be a little to the brownish side. There we go. Get that going in there. Kind of move this around. We'll just get some of that paint off out in here. Pick up some more, just a touch. Just get a little bit of movement started back here. Just kind of bringing some of these colors together. You can just kind of scratch in a little bit almost with the brush some of the lighter colors and just get them to meet. Then you bring some of that darker brown or blue. That's totally blue, not brown, Kaylee. Maybe I need a snack. I like these colors a lot. They're looking really cool. Okay. This, kind of flatten that out. This water's moving basically flat. Then we're gonna have this water's kind of moving back out because it's being pulled back out, but we'll work on that in a minute. Grab some titanium white. I just want a little bit more white in this right here and in this right here. And let's leave that. Cool. I'm gonna go check out the rain. Hey, I'm back. It was just raining for a little while, so I just went out to enjoy it, and now the birds are out and they're singing. So let's get back to this wonderful painting. And I'm just going to keep using the sable brush with kind of the dirty paint to move these waters and just give them, I'm giving this like a rocking motion, and I'm just moving that water and making it, you know, move, right? So we're picking up some dark and moving it into the light, and picking up some light and moving it into the dark. Just allowing those two to kind of blend and soften together a little bit, so you can't quite tell where one ends and the other begins. Just nice variety on the colors. Maybe we'll move in here a little bit. Okay, now I'm going to pick up my blending brush, make sure it's clean, and we'll go right up here to the top. You just want to soften the horizon line a little bit. We're doing pretty straight across, just to soften that top line of blue. And then we'll just kind of soften the rest of this while we're at it. It just kind of gets off all the high points of the paint, so we're working with a good surface too. I'm going to pick up the fan brush now and go into some of our highlight color for our clouds and just gray it down with some of that highlight color from the water. So it's a little bit of a thinner mixture. And I just want to come out here and put in a few more. The fan brush can really kind of scratch in a little bit more of that paint. It just gets a different texture than the sable brush. And we're just going to put in some movement back here. Maybe a little bit over here too. Let's leave that. Next, we are going to put in some rocks. We'll pick up some of our blue, dark blue, phthalo blue, phthalo green, alizarin crimson, midnight black, Van Dyke brown, and our lighter brown mixture. Just mix that into a nice dark mixture. Pick off a little bit of the paint, and we'll start with some of our really distant rock features out here. There's kind of this shelf out there where when the tide is coming in, it's going to be hitting on there on the rocks. So the water's back here moving around, and then our rocks are going to be down in this area. So this is just our back area. We'll kind of just give it some idea there. And then we'll just soften out the bottom. And I want to put in another like round, something like that. And I want to leave that. We'll get a little bit of a shadow color going, pick up some titanium white and just marble it into that blue mixture. Cut off a little roll of it. And we'll just give this rock a little bit of detail, some shape. Clean off the knife, and we'll cut off a little bit of titanium white and go into our light brown mixture. Grab a touch of our mountain or of our rock color. Now let's mix that into a little more titanium white. Cut off a little roll, And we have just a touch of a highlight here. Just on a few areas, just bring them out. Okay. I'm going to pull some of this rock color down and just go across. And then right back here, we're gonna have the water. It's just kind of going over on the other side. So we'll clean off the fan brush, dip into the liquid white, and we're gonna pick out some blue, a light blue, phthalo green, and phthalo blue. Just a little bit of the two of those on the fan brush. A really thin mixture here. And then we'll just throw some water back here. A little bit more. Okay. And then we want to grab some titanium white into that mixture, just kind of a medium texture, and we'll just pull some over right here. Just kind of make it look like it's going over the edge. Maybe a little bit. It's going this way too. Okay. Now let's put in this next bit of rock, picking up some more of our dark rock color, and we'll just work this one all the way out. Maybe that way. And then we'll just fill this all in with this dark color, very dark color. Midnight Black, Van Dyke Brown, our blues, Phthalo Green, Alizarin Crimson, just all of the dark colors to make a very nice dark black. Just get it in there, spread it around, and then kind of pull off a little bit so that it's not too heavy. You don't want it super thick, but we want lots of the color. So you can kind of just put it on like butter. I like to say spread it like butter. We'll do this first spot here where we're going to have some water kind of coming over the edge there. We'll have our fall. It's going to kind of go out. Just pulling this paint out in the direction that I want the water to be falling, And this will give us a good dark spot to actually have the water show even, you know, brighter. So you have to put on this dark first to be able to show the light. We don't want to cover up all of this highlight area that we put in there, so I'm going to leave that area and just work on this back spot here. And I want this one to be going a little bit more flat back here. So we just keep that nice and flat. And then we're going to have a little bit of a fall kind of here. Just the rock kind of falls off and then it comes all the way out. Now, in all truth, I've never actually been here. I just found this photo online that I really liked. So let me know if you have been here and what you think of this little painting that we did. Let me know in the comments below. Also, please subscribe to my channel. I do Tutorial Tuesday every Tuesday, and sometimes I'll throw in a wild card here and there, just a random one on top of just the Tuesday one. So give me a follow. Thanks for being here. I'm just pulling this paint flat across here, very lightly, kind of giving it some more direction. We don't want to pull it down too soon, so I'm just trying to fix that there. There we go. And I want to fill in the bottom too, because we need it there anyway. So I'm picking up some Van Dyke brown, or blue, black. Good bit of paint there, nice and dark. And we'll just fill in, start getting this really dark down here. We can come soften it up later. We'll just get some of this movement and this dark paint down in here. Okay, let's leave that. Wipe off the knife. And I'm going to kind of blend this together. Soften. I'm just taking off more of the high spots just to really soften it a little, and then we'll pull this in the directions straight across up here, and then we kind of turn it up as it's pulling off and going out onto these rocks. Give that a nice little turn there. And I'm going to go ahead and pull this waterfall out just a little more. Wipe off the brush. Okay, let's work a little bit on this waterfall. Pick up some titanium white and our gray brown. We have this light brown mixture and a little bit of phthalo green. And I want to pick out this area that's going to be nice and bright for our waterfall kind of area where the water is just pulling off of the rocks and making its little appearance. Then we'll just pull some of that up. Let's pick up a little bit more of our grayish. And I need to wipe off a little area in here because we're going to have another bright area right here. So we'll just put that in, wiped off some of that blue so it'd be a little more clean for this highlight area, and we'll just throw some of that there, maybe a little here. Still using that light brown and phthalo green, titanium white. It's kind of like a muddy gray. Let's do this down here too. A little more. Good. Let's go up here. And now I'm going to just kind of move in a little bit of water movement up here just to start giving us an idea. Don't go too crazy yet. Want it nice and flat. There's just going to be a few areas maybe are a little different. The rock is up there going in different directions. Then we have this other kind of shelf over here. And then some lighter highlights. Just moving color around, trying to be nice and loose. Always working in like a rocking motion, moving in the dark and the light, just playing with the two, getting dangerous. Let's pick up a little more of our highlight color and move some in here. Just a little idea, a little taste. Now with some of that gray, I just want to move in a little bit, kind of swirling action happen over here. Just some movement in the background, giving you more of an idea of these just swirling waves happening in here. A little bit of a grayish blue, maybe a little down here. Let's pick up some of this darker color, throw that in down here. We're just playing with these colors, moving them together, picking some up and placing it somewhere else. It really helps to bring the whole painting together, to be able to just move these, kind of combine them with each other so that you can bring the whole piece together and create harmony. These are going to be it'll be a nice fall kind of coming this way, so we're going to need some dark right there underneath, under the bottom, just to catch it, right? We'll kind of bring these two together a little. Come it maybe over here. Bring that fall over, this one all the way over. Flat at the bottom. Let's add in some more titanium white onto the brush. A little more highlight through here. Just titanium white and allowing it to mix with this sable brush. Just doing little rocking motions. Let's go right up over here and just add a tiny bit more. So it's kind of leveling out up here. Then I want to bring in a little dark. We'll just kind of get some over here. And the birds are going crazy today. Okay, let's just get a little bit more movement down in here, a little variety, little swirl in action. Got to put some of the dark so that the light will show and really pop. Maybe we'll throw a little bit more back here. Okay, now I want to just pick out, I'm going to grab my script liner and go right into this really dark mixture and just pick out where the waterfall is going to be. Just bring this down to this other light area over here. I'll bring that around again. Now with the sable brush, we'll just bring it back a little. Straight back, and then just clean this up a little. Leave that for a second, and then we'll move to this other area. Just kind of give it a little more movement. I like that more. Pull some of it back. Just soften it. And let's take this all the way across. And we're going to round it up. And then kind of give it a wiggle on the way out. Just nice and soft there. A little more dark now that I picked some up. really soft movements. Hello. I just had a little lunch and or maybe kind of dinner, but anyway, had some food, and now I wanted to just let some of this set for a little bit, so so that we can work with the paints a little differently. So now that it's just set for, it's probably been 30 minutes, so it's just a little sticky, which is what we want. I'm just testing it, getting a feel. I'm going to just keep working on some of these, building some of these higher points. Right now we're working with just a light gray, light blue on the sable brush. And I want to put in a little bit of this highlight, see if I can get it to pull off right out here. Nice and thick paint. And then we'll do a little here. Tiny bit more. And while that's still working, we'll do just a tiny bit right in here. Then I'm going to pick up the fan brush, and it just has some of our thinner blue mixture, and we'll just soften some of these. Just pull the bottom out a little bit on a few. Give them a little bit of a move. This water is all receding back off the rock because a big wave has crashed over and it's pulling back. So we want this all to be pulling back in this direction. So be sure you're always pulling it nice and flat, but just want to separate these out a little bit. Try not to lose all of the big parts of the bright. We just want to soften some of the edges. Okay, we're going to get kind of closer to the edge here. Let's just use the fan brush and just bring in a few of these, just kind of all angled towards this fall. A few thinner with the titanium white and liquid white. Just point them out toward this wave, this edge of the rock here. And then here, coming out this way. Now I'm going to thin this paint down even more. Just get a little dunk of the liquid white into that blue mixture. And we'll start pulling some of this water down over the rock. We'll get some here. A little more. We'll just keep that going, pick out a few more areas. I'm going to use a sable brush, just a small one that I have, and it's clean and dry, and just soften some of these areas. This was still a long exposure to get the water to be nice and soft, so I want to make sure that we incorporate that into the painting. Nice and soft. Okay, wipe that off. And flatten out the bottom a little bit here. Pick back up the fan brush into our blue mixture, and right here, big fall, some more white, and right through here. Even more. I want to make this really look like it. There's like a little fall, just like the rock kind of fell here, and then it pops back up and then crashes down on this other bit of rocks. Here it's just going to come all the way out and then fall. Okay, just pull out a few more, and I'm going to soften this back area with the sable brush. Just very carefully in a few areas. Just really soften it and let that get that flow, soft water look. I'm just barely touching and softening this water. I'm almost not touching, but every now and then I catch it a little bit, and that's what I'm trying to do. Just barely soften it. I'm gonna wipe that off. And I'm gonna pick out just a few areas in here and soften them even more. Especially pick out a few areas that are a little darker. Really pick those out and use that to get some different shape and depth. Flatten that out a little bit there. I'm just going to keep softening this. I want to soften this top a little bit. Just going to kind of tap and pull it a little bit. Just soften all of the water. It's moving, and you're just staring at it with one eye open and one eye closed, and you're really listening to it more than you're looking at it. Just sloshing off, receding back in to the water, to the depths, building back up, and then getting ready to crash back over again. And just kind of moving some paints, just softening all of this. Being sure to keep the directions all going the same as they are. We don't want to take out all of that hard work we just did. Keeping with like the rocking motion, just softening. Let's wipe the brush off. We're picking up a little paint now. Now with the sable brush, I want to do even more of a highlight on this waterfall before we move forward towards this next area. Picking up some titanium white, and I'm going to get some of this light brown mixture. I'm just leaving my titanium white, not picking up any brown. Come on. There we go. That was a little more than I wanted. I want it to be a very bright white. And then we just use this light brown to dull the white, because we don't want to use straight titanium white. So we will use some of this light brown just to make it a little more understanding for the eye. This is a nice and thick paint on the sable brush. I'm just going to stabilize my hand and pick out a few highlights that I really want to show. Hopefully I'm just going to kind of tap out the brush and open it up a little bit to have some more bristles. And I'm just going to drag it and see if I can get these to have a few areas of some highlight. So we just pick out what you think, you know, a bright. I have, you know, a general idea, but you can just throw them in. They're going to be changing second to second, so whatever you want is right. Let's wipe out some of that blue. We want to keep it nice and bright. Very thick on the brush, and then we should be able to get it to pull off onto this layer. A little over here. And then let's do this one here. Right here. Maybe a little. You want to keep wiping off if you get too much of that blue, so we can keep it nice and fresh. And right here, let's just do a few. More white. And just a little bit in there, just to get a little, kind of some different detail. And then we'll pick back up the other sable brush for blending. Just if you need to clean one off, you can do that. I have a bunch of them over here, so I'm just switching between them. This one is clean, and I'm just softening some of those extra highlights that we just threw on. Not completely, but we just want this extra soft. Now I'm gonna add with the bluish white on the sable brush, just a few little ideas over here of some some water moving down the rocks. Just a little bit. Nice. Now we need to pick up a little bit of dark, throw it in right here. Dark blue, midnight black, Van Dyke brown. We'll leave that, pick up the sable brush with some blue on it and titanium white and just soften that out. We just wanted that a little darker because we're gonna have kind of another bit of rock and water moving this way. So we will just use this white light mixture to give us an idea of this other bit here. And it's just kind of flowing in front. This way. Titanium white and our blues. And we have our water coming back up this way. Now we need to put in our dark. Let's clean off the sable brush and grab some of our really dark mixture. And we need to just build up some of this dark down here. Then we're going to come in with some titanium white, a little touch of phthalo green, and we'll just swirl this around. Pick up a little more all around the base. Allow the waterfall to mix the colors so we can get kind of a gray, and then we'll bring it all together here. Now we have that misty. Pick up your little blending sable brush. Just soften it out. Add a little bit of texture. And then we'll decide where the bottom of that is. Because this water is still moving, it's going back. Pick up some, which one were we using with the dark? Whichever one, with dark blues. And we need a little bit down in here. To get this water is pulling back, right? All back. So give that movement. It comes up in there and it falls off and goes back. Just like that. Back. And I want to add a little bit of phthalo green, titanium white. Just a touch in here. And right out here. I want some more. kind of wiggle that out a little bit. Give it a little rock. And just a touch more. Always working with lights and darks, back and forth. Let's soften this even more. Big brush. Just right over it, barely. Barely, 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 barely. Just like that. Over here, just a little rock. Yeah. Up here. Okay, now I think we probably need a little more highlight over here. Let's do that. Sable brush, or I think fan brush will do. Clean off a fan brush. Doop, I made a mess. Okay, I'm cleaning off fan brush, and I'm going to get some liquid white. I remember. Let's just pull this a little. There. I saw a little spot that I missed. Okay. Liquid white into some of this. It's liquid white and our light brown mixture. And just grab a touch of bright red. Maybe a little more. And let's use this right at the bottom, pushing up just to get that splash. It's rolling, it's going back, but it's still gonna splash when it hits. Little bits here, maybe a few more on some of these. There's a few rocks out there. Just pull them out a little bit at the bottom. Give that a little push. Maybe out here. Okay, now we will use the sable brush in all of our dark mixtures, the darkest paint. And we will pick out this last shelf where the water spills over. Just throw it in. It's okay. Not super straight, but you know. And now we're just going to pull that down. To it, we will pick up the fan brush and go into our highlight color. And let's just add in a few little details of the water. It's going over, so we can just pull it back. And the rock is not, you know, even, so it's just going to be kind of wiggling around in all these, in this general direction, right? I'll try it this way, right here. Just imagining that water coming over and glistening off of the water, off of the light. Let's pick up a little bit of our peach colors. That's a good idea. Just a little bit of those. And let's pop those in here. Maybe even a few over here. Out here. Not too much. Okay. Leave that on that side, and we'll do a little more here. And right here. And right there. Now, pick up the sable brush, wipe it out, and then just get a little towel, because you'll want it. Make sure it's kind of, you're starting off clean. And we're just going to soften some of these. Just like we've been doing, kind of just finding some of the bottom edges and just softening on so we can have a nice bright area on the top, and then it, you know, kind of fades out, right? Like you're getting a highlight here, and we've softened this back side. Highlight and soften. Here and there. And if you take too much off, you can always just put a little bit more on. It's going to look really shiny while we're painting it right now because of maybe the lighting, just the paints themselves. They're really shiny when you're using them. So you have to just kind of get used to practicing this and layering these paints and pulling it off and knowing how shiny it looks now versus how much it's going to look when it's dry. So you'll practice that and you'll get better at it. But you'll be able to see in mine how shiny they'll be. And when they dry, they just look very beautiful. You have nice matte finish in some areas and a gloss finish in other areas. So I don't actually varnish any of my paintings, and you can, but I choose not to. And they have all been really, really great. I love the way that they look with that multi-look finish. So you can definitely do that. It is up to you. They might not have the same amount of last, but all of the liquid paints that Bob did that I use, the liquid white and liquid clear, they seem to do really well at having the right ingredients for protecting some of the paints and giving them a nice little finish. So I just like to leave them. I'm just softening all of these, trying to, have some variety of depth there. I want to soften out just a few of the, I really like the way that this yellow is looking in here, but I want to make it even brighter. So we're going to soften it again. And then fan brush, titanium white, Indian yellow, This will be our sunshine color. And we'll see if we can get some of that to stick. Just that. Clean up the edges. I see a cloud that I want to put in, like a kind of missing something right over here. I'm gonna get like a nice lavender color, a little bit more white. Let's see, I might need it darker still actually. And I want to just pick out kind of a cloud, just a tiny bit closer here. Nice and flat on the bottom. Pick up a 2-inch brush to blend it. Maybe clean it off. And just soften it. I think we're just going to add some finishing touches and be done here. So I'm going to pick up the fan brush I was using for some highlight colors with our sunshine color. Just dip into some of our light brown. And I want to add a little bit of this right over here where the sun is just beating down right on this. There. Now we definitely picked up some paint, so just wipe that off real quick. Get a little bit more sunshine color, and we'll have another one right here. And just one more. Indian yellow, titanium white. Put some here with the rest. Good. Now I want just a tiny bit, kind of right over here. There we go. Now we'll use the sable brush to kind of bring that together a little bit, just in a few areas, soften it down. And if you messed up the direction of it, you can just wipe it off, put some dark back, and try it again. The big thing for painting water that I've learned, at least, is that I think sometimes the less that you try, the better it'll look. So just don't think about it too much, except for thinking about the direction that you want it to be going, and then having movement with water. You know, I mean, water is always moving. So you always want to be moving, but keeping in mind the direction that you are moving. So we just soften down some of the back sides of the waves where it's not going to be catching the light. All of this here, just keep working on the direction and just getting it to be nice and soft. Every bit of it we want very, very soft. Okay, I know we could sit here for days and days and days and continue, but I just feel like kind of being done. So I'm gonna pick up the script liner and just pick up a little bit of thin, light mixture. I just want to put in some little tiny, some water lines and things, just picking up any light color and just throwing in a few, maybe out here even. Thin that down with some liquid white if it's not really sticking. Just some waves and colors and movement. Down here we'll do a little, just get that moving around, and there's no right or wrong. Just go for it. Try it. And if you don't like it, don't do it next time. You never know what you may or may not like if you haven't tried it. So that's my best advice. Give it a go, and if it doesn't work the first time, try it again after you've thought about it. Think about how it didn't go the way you want and what you might do to help it get that way. And if you still don't know, you can always email me and maybe we'll figure it out together. What went wrong? Or, we can always fix it, so it's not a mistake or anything. It's just how can we make it easier for you to have more fun, maybe? Because that is definitely worth it. Ooh, and we're just getting some wiggles. I don't want to do too much, but let's just do a few more of these over here. I'm liking that. Making sure that we know which way our water is moving. I'm gonna put a few more kind of shadows in here. Just a couple. There we go. I got a little crazy. A little too crazy. Okay. Now, I pretty much just like that the way it is. This looks like the water is kind of going back. It's falling, and then you just don't know how far it's falling. This water is going back, and then we can tell some of the water is kind of swirling back and around. So yeah, I really like that. I think I'm going to put in some birds because that just seems right. Well, some far away ones. You kind of know that they're birds, but the long exposure, I guess they might be kind of hard to catch, huh? Just something to look at way out here. That's it. I'm going to sign it. Script liner into the brush wash, liquid white, and we'll go right into the bright red. Just give it a little signature. Almost done here. A little more liquid white. Thin it down just a touch more. And I like to put the year to keep track of them all, because I paint a lot of paintings. Last year I painted almost 100. It's about what I do each year. It's about 100 paintings a year. I know, it's crazy, but I just love it that much. So, okay, signed. This is done. All I have to do is clean up my big mess. As far as the painting went, yeah, I think it was really fun. I had a good time. This is definitely something kind of a different perspective, but it's just kind of enjoyable to find a photo online that you like and then try and paint it. Each time that I've done it, I have a different experience. So I hope that you give it a try and just see how it goes. And then let me know in the comments below what you thought about it. If you tried painting it, send me an email. You can send me your photos at Kaylee@KayleeRakowski.com. Thank you so much. Thank you for being here in my studio for another oil painting tutorial. Please be sure to subscribe below, hit the little bell so that you're always notified every time I do a new upload. I really appreciate you all being here with me and continuing to support my channel. Smile and be happy, friends.